Hi everyone, Caroline Schaefer here, your a radio podcast host. My guest this week is the warm and kind Marcy Mang of Marcy's Cakes and Bakes. I tell you, this was a great conversation. She had me crying and my mouth watering when we were talking about all the food that she makes. She's located in downtown Hope Mills on Trade Street and has been there for 5 years. Now she got started cooking for, lots of family members growing up with her large family. And then she started making bakes over 20 years ago at her children's birthdays. And next thing you know, Marcy's Cakes and Bakes was born. There's a little more to that story, but you'll hear that in the interview. And she has 4 wonderful young ladies that work for her and help make her team what she likes, which is to make people feel welcome every time they come in. You'll feel like a friend, not just a customer. Everything Marcy does is with love and kindness. I look forward to you hearing her story right now. Marcy, I'm so excited to be chatting with you today, and I'm already dreaming of cakes and sweet stuff. But in your bio, so you're Italian and you like cooking for big groups of people. I love that.
I do very much. I think that just is something that comes very naturally. And thank you for having me. This is so exciting for me.
Yeah,
I'm really
thanks
happy
for
to be
being here.
I've always loved cooking in bulk, whether it was feeding my husband's soldiers in the military or people at my church. And then I started a homeless ministry feeding on the streets of downtown Fayetteville, as well as currently I am cooking for my son is helping to coach a cross country club that meets in Hope Mills. So this last year before big events, they would come here to carb up and I would make them Alfredo and we would go through a lot of fettuccine Alfredo, 7 pounds of cream cheese, half and half, Parmesan cheese, loaves of bread, 200 meatballs at a time. So and that's just another day in my life.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I haven't had lunch yet.
Me either.
And I'm trying to, I love carbs so much. Pasta is, I have Scottish heritage, but I promise you, if I did a DNA test, there's gonna be Italian in there somewhere because pasta is my favorite thing in the world.
Well, I wish I was one of those people that some people eat to live and some people live to eat. And I'm definitely one of those people that, live to eat because if I'm happy, I'm going to make something to eat. If I'm sad, we celebrate with food, everything whenever you're Italian. So food is which works for me owning a bakery. So
yeah, that's what my husband and I love to go to Disney and people are like, what? I said, listen, we love food. Okay. Oh. And Disney does good food.
Yeah.
And that's our whole thing is where's the food? Where's the food?
And if you ever have an opportunity to go on a cruise, I went on a cruise and I did like the behind the scenes, like where you can sign up for it. It's like a little, I guess it's like a little excursion on the ship and you can go and they do like a culinary experience for you. And it was free. And I was like, this is so cool. So that was like my favorite thing on the ship.
So Marcy, what factors helped you decide that it was time to take it from making cakes for you and for your kids' birthdays to opening your own business?
Oh, that's a great question. So I did make cakes. I got started as a military wife. I wanted to make my kids' birthday cakes. And so I took a class. And I took several classes, sewing, little wives things that they do for you. And cooking, baking was one of them, a cake decorating class. And I really loved it. And I just wanted to do my kids' birthday cakes. And then friends were asking, oh, can you do a cake like that for my kid? So, that spread a little bit whenever we were at Fort Knox. And then I started doing cakes for different presentations and groups that I was involved in. And then our next duty station, I got a job at a bakery, which was very unique for me. But it's the first time I hadn't worked where my children were. I used to get jobs in the school so I could be right there with them every day. But I wanted them to gain a little independence, and I was becoming a smother. So I'm sorry. I had to get a job outside. I love that. So I got a job at a bakery, and that's where I really learned, like, putting stars on your kid's Barbie cake it's so much different than, being in a big scale commercial bakery. And this was a large bakery. I had a wonderful time there. I worked there for 14 months until we had to leave. And that was really when I learned. So coming back to Fayetteville, I had another baby. Surprise! He was a total surprise. And then I thought, well, I could start working from home because I'm not going to be able to go outside of the home with a newborn. So I started making cakes more often. And then there used to be a little wedding chapel in down off of Rayford Road, and they asked me, hey, would you make cakes? So here would be Marcy with baby on hip, 2 kids in tow, carrying these little wedding cakes in there, and into Amy's wedding chapel. And from there, I got noticed by a few photographers and then a few catering companies. And Elite Catering was one of the companies that noticed me, and they were like, hey, we think that you have what it takes to really go further. And so they encouraged me and really took me under their wing to go further. And I just, opened the shop, not really knowing what it entailed. I really didn't. I thought, I'm going to go in a couple days a week, 9 to 5. I'll bake some things. People will come by, buy things. And that's it. Oh my goodness, I was wrong. So, I'm coming up on my 5th year in business. And I think it was important for me to get outside of my home, just to branch off for myself as my kids grew up. But also, my kids all come in here and work with me. And so it's kind of like a family. Even my son who's in the military will come and work on a Saturday morning. My daughter worked here for a while. Can't get my 15-year-old. He likes to wash dishes and crack eggs. I always tell him, if I owned an omelet shop, you'd have a job. But I think just really it had been a lifelong dream, and it just kind of, the pieces fell into place. And here we are 5 years later. I'm no longer in connection with the catering company. I mean, we're great friends, and they still, if I need a question about business, I ask. But now I'm in my own shop.
That's a wonderful company. Yeah.
Yes. And they really do help get a lot of people started. A lot of people in town that you would say, oh, I know them, or oh, I know them. They owe their start to the Chef Lou and his wife Edna, and I'm one of them.
That is so, see, that's what community is supposed to be about. It's not about competition. It's about lifting each other up. And
absolutely. And I agree with you so much. I've reached out to other bakeries just to say, like, hey, if you want to network, if you have a big event, you need people, if you're out of boxes, let's connect. But I haven't had that kind of rapport in the bakery business yet. But I do have that with caterers and photographers and DJs and wedding planners. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. Marcy, what advice would you give someone who wants to open their own small business besides find Chef Lou?
I think one of the best pieces of advice that I could give someone that wanted to open their own business is don't go into debt for it. I opened every business, this one and the bakery across the street, with cash that I had on hand, and I refused to go in debt for any of it, and I maintained that. And be realistic, what your rent. I've looked at places where the rent is $5,000 a month, and it's like, wow, that's a lot of cupcakes, and you will be a slave to it. But I think just be realistic, and for me, it was learning the ropes from someone. So ask questions if you can, get a mentor. I know Seed in downtown, they have a lot of small business classes. Just utilize every resource that you can to help you, along the way. And for me, it was a lot of going to auctions so that I didn't have to purchase brand new equipment. That's how I managed to do it, and just I'm very resourceful. So when I cut off the tops of my cakes after I bake them, what do you do with all that? Well, okay, make cake pops out of it. You have all these cake scraps. We'll make cake pops. Or if I have a cake that someone cancels, especially through this time of season of COVID, if something gets canceled, well, what do I do with that cake? I've already baked it. Parfaits for in the case. I'm constantly trying to think outside of the box to find ways to work with what I have, but also not waste anything. So, that would be my best advice: is don't go into debt and think outside of the box for things.
Yeah. I like how resourceful you are. I feel like it's a little cliche as a military spouse myself to say that's such a military spouse thing, but I think it's a mom thing. I think moms, we tend to be very resourceful and, well, why am I throwing this out? It's edible.
Yeah. Well,
Right?
and I think even my customers, I smother. I have single soldiers who will come in here to get something, and they know.
Oh,
I actually had a single soldier who bought me a gift card for Mother's Day. He's like, "You're the closest thing to a mom that I have here." Of course, I was like, "Oh, that's
oh,
so sweet." But also, I think when you're a mom, it just comes naturally, and the girls will tell you, like, I definitely mother my employees, but.
I love it. I'm going to come to work for you just so my mom can be here. You can.
There you go.
And I like cupcakes, so I'll just work for cupcakes.
There you go. We'd love to have you.
Oh my goodness. I love this. And that's such great advice. It really is, because I feel like a lot of people think, just take out loans, and it's really risky.
Yeah.
You have to weigh all of that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And if I don't have the money for it, I will not go into debt for it. So, I wanted a delivery van, and I saved and I scrimped, and then I went to auction and I bid on one and finally won one. But it took a year. It took a year to get it. So,
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's awesome.
It's definitely been blessings. Like I could tell you things about going into business where I thought, I can't believe that this is, if one more thing goes wrong, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to open this shop. I can't take one more thing. And I can remember the front door that I bought for the old bakery. I remember going to Lowe's and thinking, I have $150 left in my budget. I was like, Lord, I'm going to throw this out there. Lord, if I can't get this door for $150, then it's not meant to be. Now, granted, I'm at the point where I just need a door. So it's a little late to say it's not meant to be. I'm going to not do this. But I remember thinking to myself that day, like, so many things had gone wrong. And I was like, if I can't get this door, I'm just going to take that as a sign and I'm going to back out. And I went there, and the lady's like, I'm looking for a door. I couldn't find one. I'm standing there talking to myself, and an employee said, hey, can I help you? And I said, I need a door, this measurement, and I need it to be at $150. And she said, I'll be right back. And she come back and she said, I don't know if this would help you. I don't know if this matters, because it's not $150. It's half of that. So I have a door that's returned, and if you want it for $75, it's yours. And I was like, okay, like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, okay, yeah,
that
okay.
is so great.
So it just worked out like that. And it does that all the time for me, all the time. I mean, when we were broken into here, I was at a very low point in the business, thinking that things were, it's hard. It's a struggle every day I'm located on a back street, which I love my building and I love this historic district of Hope Mills, but through COVID, a lot of businesses down here have shut down. And so sometimes I feel like I'm like the Lone Ranger left down here that's open day to day. And and I was at a low point. I was like, I just don't know that I want to keep hustling. It's a hustle every day to open the front doors and keep things going, especially in a food business, So I was broken into, and they broke my front door down, and they couldn't get in there. So the front door down. So they threw a tire iron through my plate glass window, and then they crawled in and they robbed me. And of course, none of us were here, but getting that call at 5 a.m. from the Hope Mills Police Department that you've been robbed, you need to come, and just walking in and seeing everything damaged. Mm-hmm. And just feeling so violated. Like when I left here to go to Lowe's to buy a new door, I thought to myself, I'm just going to put a door on and close. I just can't. When I came back, my daughter and an employee had posted on social media what had happened. And I had people lined up outside. And as I pulled up to take the door out of the van, they were giving me money. Marcy, don't quit. Other businesses in Hope Mills that I know needed that money. They were donating money to me. Here, Marcy, don't quit. Keep going. We love you. Be strong. I made enough that day. I replaced the window. I replaced the door. I put in a security system, and I paid for it for one whole year off of the donations of customers and other businesses.
Have to get a tissue.
I'm sorry.
You're good. It's beautiful. I love this.
But I mean, that's what community and that sense of community is all about. I'm
Absolutely.
so fortunate to be a part of a small business that is just loved by the community. And it's great. I have a lot of support from Mayor Jackie Warner and the council, but also just the everyday people in Hope Mills who will come by and say hey. And I know about them when their dog dies. I know that their son is left for college. I know that their grandma has passed away, and I can love on them and say, hey, that one's on me. That cupcake's, I think it's just really important I want to be successful in business, but furthermore, I want to be known as a good person in business.
My next question is, how do you balance your family and your friends and the business and your faith? And although it sounds like you have a pretty good handle on it, but do you have for you?
I think for me, as this business grew, it's so much more about paying the taxes and paying the, everything that you have to do behind the scenes, my insurances, all the bills that have to be paid. That's the part that I don't like, right? But that's the reality of it, making sure everything is ordered for the business. I will say that I have 3 amazing children, and I love to bring them in at any aspect that I can. When I am happiest whenever I'm here, and if we had a special event on the street, my kids would volunteer to come, and my husband could be seen working behind the counter, and he did the floors for me. And it was such a gift of love to be surrounded by these people that I tried to support for so many years, and then just seeing them here, it brings me a lot of joy. But also, I think that there's times whenever you do have to realize, I get a lot of slack because I'm closed on Sundays. Well, that's, the day I choose to worship with my family, and then Mondays I'm here half day, but that is the day that I focus on, so I think you have to find that balance. I can't stay open on Monday just because 4 people want a cake on Monday. I have to say that is an opportunity for me, to get things done for the business and focus. And as an adult with ADHD, lists really help me find a balance a lot. I make a lot. You'll see everywhere in the back, or everywhere that I am, is dry erase boards and lists. And it feels very good as a person with ADHD to cross something off a list. Mm-hmm. But also, I've decided a long time ago that, I had to not do my feedings in downtown Fayetteville anymore. So focusing on a way to reach out and to encourage and mentor people. So we have had a string of young ladies who might be struggling in some area of their life come into the bakery and learn aspects of baking. I remain close with all of them, and it makes me feel great whenever, whether it is, Maddie that comes in and says, like, hey, you changed my life. You were there for me and supported me. And she went on to culinary school and to work for Disney and to work for bakeries. And, she's just this happy. And I just, even having like a spoonful into the recipe of her life is like so cool for me. And then Ariel, who was, she was coming here, and she moved away, and she came back through here, and she said, I want you to know that you changed everything for me, like just being around you and you loving on me and just accepting me. And, she's like, I love you. And it's really cool to know that even as a business person, you can find a way. We have a 10-year-old little girl who comes in here and works with us. Not because I need a 10-year-old to come in here and work with us, sure, but because she needs to be around positive women and see that, this is a place where safety, and we are going to encourage you and tell you that you're fantastic and that you can do anything in here. And the way I got her coming in is her grandma works on our street. And I said, so, hey, what do you help out your grandma, And she said, no, I don't do anything right. And I said, come on, everybody does something right. No, I don't. I'm always getting in trouble. And I said, well, Miss Marcy can find you some things to do, and I bet you'll do them right. And I pay her in cake pops, and I pay her in frappes, and but this kid loves to come in here. And when I see her hit that front door and that smile on her face, and she has on her Marcy shirt, and the best is whenever she brings in her younger brother or her older cousins, and she's like, I work here. And I'm like, yeah, you do, So it's baking is something that I think that we don't teach our girls as much anymore. And it's going to be something that they can carry on, and be accomplished in that. It's the little things, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and there's so many aspects for our children that I think that now, especially, it's so focused on education, but those basic knowledge things, like, hey, I have a 28-year-old son, and he just bought his first home. And, I love whenever he calls me. I just went shopping with him yesterday to get some things for the home. But he's like, why do I need this? I'm like, because, because a good pan is going to last you, and I'm trying to explain to him.
Oh, yeah.
But,
100%. Yeah,
those things those little nuggets that we put into them that they carry with them and make them into the, when your son meets a person and he says, hey, let me cook for you. Wow, really? You're going to cook for me? Heck yeah.
Yeah. People in general love to have someone feed them. Yeah. I mean, they say I'd say a way to anyone's heart is through their stomach. At least with me, you feed me, I am happy. I'm so happy. You said it earlier when you were like, it's what brings people together.
It is. Very much so. And I think it depends on how you were raised. I have friends that are just like, gather around the granola bar and let's all partake in a little smidgen and move on. And then there's my own family who's like, I'll say, Ma, at Christmas time, I said, Ma, there's no vegetables on this table. My mom says, what do you mean there's no vegetables? There's some parsley right there on on them potatoes. That's parsley does not make a vegetable, and a potato is a vegetable. And I'm like, Mom, there's like 7 kinds. Italians, they look at things very, very, very differently. So yeah,
that's hilarious. I'm excited to eat later. Now I'm going to be like, what can I actually concoct in the kitchen?
And that's one of the things I love with the girls here, because like I try to cook for the girls here once a week. So like last week I made this chicken tortellini soup, and I just made it like on the fly because Thursday we were supposed to have that bad storm, right? And so I was like, I'm gonna make them something. So I was like throwing stuff in the crock pot, and the one young lady here is like, what is it that you're doing? I'm like, I'm cooking for you. She's like, what are you cooking? I'm like, I don't know. We're going to see what comes out. I put some shredded chicken. I put the tortellini. I put some chicken bouillon. I put celery, carrots, and then I added heavy cream, and I made it a creamy soup, and it was good.
So now I know next time there's going to be a storm, I need to go see Marcy.
Yeah, come by. We'll feed you.
I'll take some soup and some cupcakes. That's oh my goodness. That kind of leads me to the next question, because right now you're a bakery, but where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Do you see yourself doing other things, expanding?
Primarily by trade, I'm a cake decorator, and that is what I love. All the other things that we do in here are not something that I knew how to do coming into this. I knew how to decorate cakes coming into this. Baking and everything is so far above where I thought I would be. So I think in 5 years, I would really like to see my girls that work for me kind of take a little bit more initiative and a stronger role in helping Marcy's expand. I I was Trade Street Sweets whenever I opened, and being Italian, your name means everything. So having my name in my business is, when something is said that is bad, it reflects personally on me because that's my name under it. So but there is like a large a group behind me that that stands behind me, and I have a girl with a culinary degree, and she really could knock out some amazing pastries. And I have a girl who does just our keto items for us, and she has great knowledge on what is keto and what works and what doesn't. So I'd really like to see these young ladies take it up a notch, and they do that for me all the time. They're always constantly coming up with ideas through COVID to keep things spiced up here. They'll do a video game week where all the food was themed around video games, or we did a Joe Exotic week where we did cupcakes. Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
They do online tutorials for people buy the cupcake box, and then they're teaching them how to decorate. They were doing cupcake decorating classes and cake pop decorating classes in here. So it's really cool to see. I don't think that way. Like I'm not constantly thinking what I can do next. So I think I'm going to rely. I'm kind of like stick with what you know. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's the old person in me, because I'll be 50 this year.
Me too.
Will you really?
Uh-huh.
Yes, 50. Oh, it's hard. It's tough, man. So I'm kind of thinking that these young ladies are going to be what takes it, to the next level. They're constantly following me around, making TikTok videos of silly things I do, which at first I'm like, I'm so offended that you guys think that all I do is make jests and jokes around here. But then I realized that most of the time, what I do is make jests and jokes around here. So, I don't know where the TikTok, I'm not watching them. I don't know where they're going, but they are being watched. And, whether I'm singing or dancing or rapping, my skills. And, these girls are where I see us going in 5 years. I think they're gonna lead the way for me.
Nice. Well, I'm excited to watch that happen. So in the meantime, where can we find you? In like social media, website, location, all that good stuff.
Okay. So I am located, a physical location is 5474 Trade Street. See that right behind me? Whoops, that way. Trade Street.
Yep.
And that is in the historic district in downtown Hope Mills. So if you're familiar where the lake is, you would just go behind the First Citizens Bank, and there's this little street, and a little bit of history. All the shops down here were somehow associated with the mill was Hope Mills is founded with.
Wow.
And so this was all this little street was just businesses that supported or worked in conjunction with the mill for the employees of the mill. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. There's like the first post office, the first bank, the grocery store that's, so yeah, there's some cool little shops down here. And so, but on Facebook, it's Marcy with an I, Cakes and Bakes. And then that is also my Instagram, Marcy's Cakes and Bakes. And then we have a TikTok, which I honestly couldn't tell you what it is because I'm not a talker or a ticker. So the girls would have to, but okay. If you could find us on our Facebook, I'm sure that they've linked it to the TikTok.
Probably.
And we change our menu every week. So really? Every Tuesday we put out a video of me saying what we have cooked for what we've baked for the week. So because I am on a smaller scale, I can't always make 6 cheesecakes. I usually try to have like 3 cheesecakes and 5 cupcakes. And so so I put out a video every Tuesday, and that's how we have our faithful that are waiting at 11 o'clock for that video to come out. And,
wow.
Like tell you what you've got for them. And it's just a lot of fun to be here. And we offer keto items. We offer gluten-free, but we're not a certified gluten-free facility. We do some vegan items upon request. But every day you can get some of our most popular things. Buckeye brownies. It's a brownie with they call them peanut butter balls in the South, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm a Yankee, so I call them Buckeyes. And it's a peanut butter ball dipped in chocolate. So
Oh,
we did a brownie and put that whipped peanut butter on top of a brownie with a chocolate layer on top of that. So the Buckeye brownies are big. I make fresh lemon bars, fresh
mm.
pecan bars or pecan bars if you're in the South. Um, I make, and I've also, like, people ask me all the time, why don't you do Italian desserts, Marcy? Well, I did whenever I opened, but here in the South, if it does not have a pecan or pudding or red velvet in it, it's just, a stick. I am in the South, so Italian desserts went by the wayside, and but we do some things that are Pittsburgh related. Since I'm from Pittsburgh, we do the Amish nut rolls a couple times a year, and
Mm.
we do some Italian things like that, and lemon bars, pecan pie bars. Probably our most popular cheesecake cake. We do a caramel apple cheesecake by the slice, and
Ooh.
that is a pie crust layer with a cheesecake layer. Then we do fresh apples tossed in nutmeg and cinnamon, and then we do an oatmeal strudel layer and top that with our homemade caramel.
So it's
So
healthy.
yeah, it's all made with love. Everything here is just no calories.
There
Um,
you go.
yeah, we have cookies that are probably as big as your face. We
Wow.
do a variety of cake pops. You can see behind me here, there's a strawberry, homemade strawberry bundt cake that will be going out for slicing tomorrow morning. Um,
Yum.
yeah, so we do all kinds of things. So come by and check us out, and visit the family, and we're definitely good for a laugh.
Well, I'm looking for, what are your hours?
So Mondays I'm closed.
Mhm.
Tuesdays I'm open 10 to 5. Wednesdays 9 to 5. Thursday 9 to 5. Friday 9 to 5. Saturdays I'm open 9 to 2 right now.
Okay.
I'm hoping that when COVID and things change a bit, that we'll be able to change our hours back to be open a little bit longer. But right now we have those hours cut shorter because it's there's a lot of there's a feeding program down here, and
Nice.
we try to keep out of the way of that and keep all of our people safe whenever people are coming down the street to be fed. So
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and they can, if somebody needs a specialty cake, or if they need a birthday cake, retirement cake, any kind of celebration, they can call you, and they can.
Absolutely.
How far ahead would you prefer an order to be?
If you can give us a week's notice, that's fabulous, especially if you're going to be wanting fondant work or things like that on there. So
Okay.
I don't cover cakes completely in fondant. I specialize in buttercream cakes with fondant accents. So when you look on our Instagram and stuff like that, you'll see, we can do little fondant things that go on a cake, but basically they're based in an American buttercream, which is like a high ratio shortening, butter, powdered sugar, and then I use different extracts. But on average, just for giggles, on average we go through about 250 pounds of powdered sugar, about 20 pounds of butter, about 25 a week, about 25 dozen eggs, about 4 gallons of milk.
Wow.
So we we go through it here, and it's always fun to do the grocery shopping every week.
Oh,
so
I'm sure. Well, you'll definitely see me this week, because my mouth is just like, I should use my thing to wipe my drool now.
And we have customers that, like you mentioned, your son being gluten-free.
Mhm.
So I don't always keep like things out. Like I have one little boy, he needs dairy and gluten. So his mom will call me and say, hey, can you make him a strawberry shortcake before I'm on my way? And so I would keep that, I keep the remnants of the cake frozen. And so whenever he is coming, I can pull a bit out. I mean, I don't freeze it in bulk, but just a bit at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can make him a fresh little strawberry shortcake so he can have a treat. And we do that for a lot of our customers. I have a little girl that's been coming here since I opened. She doesn't like icing. So her mom will call ahead. Can you pull me 2 vanilla cupcakes? No icing, Marcy. And sure. Yep. I'll do that. So.
That is amazing. Well, I love icing, so that won't be. I just want like some icing and a little cupcake, mostly icing. Yeah.
Mostly icing.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
This has been so great. I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me, share this wonderful story. And it's just so relevant, poignant to what Anne-Marie wants, is what Array is about, the, connecting community through conversations. And you gave such a great example of what community is. And you made me cry, which is fine, but I was like, because you don't always hear that anymore. And so thank you. Thank you for
Well,
sharing.
thank you. I really appreciate you having me. And I have to say, like, I appreciate the people in Hope Mills so much. And as being a military family, like, I used to always think as a military wife, stick with what you know everywhere we moved. Okay, there's an Olive Garden. I know what spaghetti's going to taste like at the Olive Garden. Let's go. But now, whenever I go out and about, I'm looking for those mom and pop places that are unique and are going to give you the experience. And I'm willing to pay for that craft that people
Right.
know. Yes, I know I'm within 3 Walmarts within a 5-mile radius of myself, but you can't get the experience at a Walmart that you can get here. Somebody slicing it for you and telling you when it was made. Or we have customers that will bring us blueberries. Hey, I'm making blueberries, or the girls and I went and picked strawberries. We picked these strawberries for your
Right.
strawberry cake. Like, it's,
Wow.
those are the things that make small business worth supporting. And, yeah, I love it. And I'm so thankful
Absolutely.
that you gave me the opportunity to share more about us with
Yeah.
your viewers, and that Array gave me the opportunity to be in the magazine. It was wonderful. We don't have my customers, they keep taking them, and look at you guys. And I had one lady bring it back. You can keep it. But it's just a lot of fun. And it's just really a privilege to be included in people's special times and help them create memories by doing cakes for them.
Thank you for joining me for this week's A Radio podcast. I'd love to have you join me every week, so make sure and hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Also, just a quick reminder that all the information shared here is the property of Array Publishing and Marketing, LLC. Always affordable, always positive, and always community-minded. See you next time.